Hi viewers, today we are going to discuss about the shear force and bending moment. This can be used for beams, portal frames, trusses and etc. As a civil engineer, he has to be mastery in this chapter. Let us discuss about the beams. What are the beams? Beams are basically in a horizontal member which is supported by two vertical members, two vertical supports. These are called supports, and this is called beam. According to the supports, the beams are classified as: number 1, cantilever beam; number 2, simply supported beam; number 3, overhanging beam; number 4, fixed beam; number 5, continuous beam. These are the some types of beams. Let us define that. Let us define the beams. Number 1, cantilever. The cantilever means one side is fixed and another side is free, without free of support, like this. This is a fixed support, and this one is without any support, no support or free end. This can be called as both or. Next, definition: a beam which is fixed at the rate of one side or one end and is free at the rate of other side or other end. It is called cantilever beam. Number 2, simply supported beam. This support a beam which is resting on two simply supports. As I said that simply supports, no, starting at said at the starting, it is just a simply supported beam. A beam which is resting on a two simple supports called simply supported, like this. These are two simple supports. The beam is resting on these two simple supports called simply supported beam. A beam which is resting on two simple supports. It is called simply supported beam. Let's move to another beam, overhanging beam. Overhanging means the span or the beam is over or behind the behind the support like this. If this is behind the support, then this is called as overhanging like this. This is single overhanging, or this can be also like this also, with the two supports are fixed and overhang at the rate of right side, and this is the left side. These are two types. Single overhanging. Next, double overhanging. Beam. What is single overhanging? What is double overhanging? Let us discuss about it. Single overhanging means the overhanging of supports or the beam over the one side of only the beam, like this or like this. Double overhang means the beam behind both the supports like this, called double overhanging beam. Next, fixed beams. Fixed beam. What is fixed beam? In the name of itself, it is fixed, such that the both ends of the beam are fixed rigidly, like this. We can see this in the trusses, and next in the types of columns also. Okay. Load W, we can apply so many like this. UDL. Let us discuss about this topic. About loads. Let us discuss. Next, continuous beam. Continuous beam. What is continuous beam? The continuous beam is a beam which has more than two supports, such as this is a simply supported. This is one support and this is one support, which is the beam which is having another support. This is called as continuous beam. The beam which is having more than two supports is called continuous beam. The beam which is having more than two supports called continuous beam. These are the beams we are going to discuss in this chapter. The loads will be also placed on the beams. What types of loads they are? For example, this is our classroom thing, so that like this is our classroom, these are benches, so on. We are having a walls at the sides like pillars. We are having pillars now. Pillars and here is beam. We have beam at the top side. The top side we are having. When here also we will find that benches, so on, like this. These are the live loads. These are the live loads. We move here and there. We go here and there. We are also live loads. Okay. These live loads, when the loads are applied on a beam, how the beam going to deflect, or the shear forces in the beam, how it's deflected, and the bending moment of the beam, how it's going to be, Let us find that. Next, we are going to discuss about the types of loads. There are three types of loads. Number one, point load, or this can be called as concentrated load. Concentrated load. Number two, uniformly distributed load, or UDL. This can be called as uniformly varying load, or UVL. This can be called as. These are the types of loads. And one more thing, there are rolling loads. This can be found in next video. Rolling loads means moving loads, called as moving loads. These are the static, these are the rest position, but this is moving this is moving over the beam, such as this is a simply supported beam, and the load from here to this moves from left to right. This load moves from left to right, such as we know that the bridges, as a car is moving from here to the last end, such that left to right. Only this car is moving, no? Then the load over this car is falling on the beam, such that this bridge is going to be bent like this, so that this is called moving loads. This is very easy. Next, what are the types of, what is the definitions of the loads? Point load. The point load is denoted in the symbol of like this. At a point, the load on the beam at a point, at a single point, does not uniformly distributed, does not UL, does not vary any about, but this load is acting at the rate of only single point. This is called as point load. Definition: a load is acting at a point on a beam is known as point load. A simple definition, don't be difficult. Or concentrated load. This is example, or another example we can about the cantilever beam. This is simply supported beam, continuous beam, fixed beam. These units are kilonewtons or newtons. This can be according to the given question. Next, uniformly distributed load. Number one, uniformly distributed load. What is uniformly distributed load? The load is distributed in a uniform manner, does not vary. This is uniform. This is distributed throughout the beam, or for a certain span, or certain length of the span, certain length of the beam also, such that the beam, the load is uniformly distributed throughout its unit is W, kilonewton per meter. It's distributed throughout the some such as span. that is L. So L is in meters, so that the kilonewton distributed per meter. So that is defined as the units for this. Okay. Next, uniformly varying load. In the name itself, it is varying. The load is varying uniformly, such as how this vary. This is vary from 0 to some extent, like W. We have no, the units of our load is W. This is varying throughout the uniformly throughout some span, so that W kilonewton per meter. This is also same units. This is beam. This can be also this like also. This can be vary in this type, or this can be vary like this also, from 0 to W kilonewton per meter. Here also 0 to W kilonewton per meter. Here 0 W kilonewton per meter, and again it returns to 0. So that this is called uniformly varying loads. Next, definitions. These loads are uniformly spread over a position or whole span. This can be such a, let us discuss one more example. The UDL is placed at the, this is total span is 10 meters. Let us think that. Let us assume the UDL is placed for about 5 meters, and the concentrator or our point load is placed from the right support 2.5 meters. Let us discuss about this, and this can be also be placed of loads. Let us discuss the problems, and before that, according to types of supports, we also have to be discussed. There are some simple supports. Types of supports. Number 1. What are the types? Simple support. Number 2. Roller support. Hinged support. Fixed support. Simple support. Simple support means like this. As a simply supported beam, the supports are simply supported, not having any other reactions about this. A roller like this. This is having a only one support like this. Hinged support. This is having a 2 and a 1 vertical reaction and a horizontal reaction. Fixed support like this. This is having a vertical and a horizontal, and it consists of movement. These are the difference of supports. Okay. Here it's a hinged. This is the 2 support.